Welcome back, history lovers. Tonight, we travel back in time to explore a question you probably never thought to ask. Why did medieval Europeans sleep sitting up? Strange as it sounds, for centuries, people in Europe didn't stretch out flat on their beds the way we do today. Instead, they rested half upright, backs propped with pillows, eyes half closed, always somewhere between waking and dreaming. But why? Was it simply a matter of comfort? Or was it fear of death, of demons, of disease? And how could something as ordinary as a sleeping posture become a marker of power and social class? Stay with me, because tonight, we step into the dim chambers of the medieval night, where every flicker of candlelight, every shadow, every breath of sleep was bound by faith, fear, and hierarchy. And before we begin, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss another journey into the forgotten mysteries of history. The medieval night was not like our night. Imagine a world without electricity. When the sun set, darkness was absolute. Candles and oil lamps existed, but they were expensive luxuries. For most people, night meant stumbling through shadows, guided only by the moon and stars. To us, night is calm, but to them, it was alive with danger. Thieves prowled the streets. Fires, sparked by a single overturned candle, could swallow entire neighborhoods. And in the imagination of the faithful, the night belonged to demons and restless spirits. In this world, sleep was not safety, it was risk. Closing your eyes meant surrendering to forces you could not control. A bed was more than furniture. It was a fortress, a throne, sometimes even a coffin. So when people climbed into their beds, they did not lie flat and vulnerable. They sat upright, eyes ready to snap open, ears straining at every creak of wood or whisper of wind. To understand why, we must look at their medicine. For centuries, European doctors followed the teachings of the ancient physician Galen. Health, they believed, depended on balancing the four humors of the body: blood, phlegm, yellow bile, and black bile. Too much of one humor could make you sick, even kill you. Sleeping flat, doctors warned, was dangerous. They believed lying down allowed phlegm to flood the chest, drowning the sleeper. Blood, they said, would rush to the brain, causing madness, seizures, or sudden death. So the solution was simple: sleep sitting up. A propped posture allowed the humors to flow properly. Upright meant safe. Flat meant fatal. There are records of physicians advising patients, do not lie flat lest your breath be choked. Some even designed beds angled like chairs with wooden supports to keep their patients upright. Imagine drifting to sleep every night believing that lying flat could kill you. Part 3. The religion of sleep, but medicine was only half the story. Religion gave sleep its deepest meaning. In Christian Europe, lying flat was the posture of the dead. Corpses were laid out in coffins, arms crossed, waiting for Judgment Day. To sleep like that was to practice death. Priests warned that Satan prowled in the night. Sleep too deeply, they said, and demons could slip into your mouth, corrupt your soul, or ride your chest as incubus and succubus creatures that pressed down on the sleeping, stealing their breath, their seed, even their lives. To lie flat was to invite evil. To sleep upright was to remain vigilant, ready to rise at midnight for prayer, confession, or penance. And so, even in bed, faith demanded awareness. Sleep itself was a spiritual battlefield. Nowhere was this clearer than in the contrast between nobles and peasants. For the wealthy, beds were not merely for rest. They were status symbols, towering high above the floor, draped in velvet curtains and embroidered linen. Some were so tall that steps were needed to climb in. And once inside, nobles propped themselves upright on layers of cushions, sitting as if on a throne. To sleep upright was not just health or faith, it was dignity. A noble did not collapse flat like a corpse or a laborer. Even in dreams, He held his rank. For peasants, the picture was very different. A straw mat on the floor, rough blankets, if any. Families slept side by side, sometimes even with animals, huddled for warmth. They lay flat because they had no pillows, no bolsters, no choice. Thus, posture itself became a symbol of class. Upright sleep was noble, flat sleep was common. Medieval nights were also divided differently than ours. Historians call it segmented sleep. People slept in two shifts, the first sleep and the second sleep. The first sleep began after dusk, lasting about 4 hours. Then people would wake at midnight, perhaps 1 or 2 in the morning. They might pray, read scripture, stoke the fire, even visit neighbors. Some couples used this time for intimacy. Afterward, they would return to bed for their second sleep until dawn. Sleeping upright made this pattern easier. Rising in the middle of the night was natural when you were never fully reclined, never fully lost to dreams. Imagine the village. In the darkness, candle flames flicker as households stir awake. A farmer steps outside to check his animals. A wife kneels to pray. A child whispers to the fire. Then, slowly, one by one, they all sink back into their upright beds, waiting for the second sleep. We know these things not just from guesswork, but from records. Manuscripts show kings reclining upright, never flat. Medical texts warn against the dead man's posture. Literature, too, preserves the custom. In Chaucer's Canterbury Tales, peasants are mocked for snoring on the floor, while nobles rest with dignity in their chambers. And in the illustrated Tachynem Sanitatis, a medieval health handbook, sleeping upright is praised as proper, while lying flat is shown as harmful. Even art reflects the fear. Saints and nobles are painted asleep with their heads raised, eyes half open, as if one breath away from waking. So when did this change? By the 1600s and 1700s, Europe was transforming. Science replaced humors with circulation and anatomy. Doctors no longer warned against flat sleep. Candles and lamps grew cheaper, filling homes with light. Beds became softer, wider, more comfortable. And slowly, the posture of the living diverged from the posture of the dead. To lie flat no longer meant death, it meant comfort. By the 18th century, nobles and peasants alike stretched out at last. What seems natural to us now was once feared as unnatural, even deadly.